From royalty to icon, the many faces of Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Mother, Granny, World War II heroine and style icon. Which Elizabeth are we talking about? Hi, I'm your host, and this is the first part of our Elizabeth, the People's Princess special. Elizabeth was born in 1906 and became queen at the age of 25. This portrait was taken shortly before her accession to the throne, when she was still known as Princess Elizabeth. They married in 1947. Newlyweds and newly queens and kings have a lot to learn about each other. When Londoners needed a morale boost, the Queen took a solo trip on the London Underground. Talk about taking the tube. She even made an unannounced visit to a hospital to entertain troops, and was informed of her new status as Queen of England while climbing a mountain. Talk about a plot twist. Upon her return to London, she addressed her people for the first time on the radio. She gave up chocolate in order to keep a slim figure, and she even gave up her beloved corgis for the sake of appearances. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why she's earned the nickname The Queen is Dead. Well, although she had trained for this role since birth, she was only 25 years old and knew that she would need the support of her people. It was a tall order, but the people were happy to oblige. They were known as the Three Graces. Their pictures were everywhere. Children were named after them. There are all kinds of tasty treats that are synonymous with British cuisine, but perhaps none more iconic than tea cakes. And even German prisoners of war had their portraits tattooed on them. In 1953, she was crowned in a lavish ceremony watched by millions around the world. Charles was invested as prince and given the title of heir to the throne. It was around this time that Elizabeth began to find her personal style, which included lots of hats, gloves, coats, and of course, those famous handbags. Yup, that's right. That's how much of an icon they were. The people loved it, and so did the troops. How do you share a bathroom? What does the other person like their eggs? How do you balance duty with romance? Fortunately for Elizabeth, she had a built-in stylist who also doubled as her dresser, and what a dresser she was. While Her Majesty might have been a fan of hats, it was her handbags that really made a statement. Who knew that one day she would become the face of Britain, not just as a monarch, but as an icon of style? 2. In this role, Elizabeth met future husband, Prince Philip. This is Elizabeth, Queen Mother, a title bestowed upon her by King George VI during World War II. While we think of wartime leaders like Churchill and Roosevelt, it's important to remember that women like Elizabeth served too. Sure, her role was different from that of a soldier or a factory worker, but the responsibility of keeping up morale during the war could have been daunting for anyone. But she was up to the task. In fact, she was more than up to the task. Her famous "We shall fight on the beaches" speech inspired the British people as much as it terrified the Nazis. The war ended, and Elizabeth continued to be a steadfast presence alongside her husband and mother. But sadly, the family was torn apart when George died in 1952. Elizabeth was staying in Kenya at the time. Now, every year on her accession day, February, the people of Britain celebrate their Queen's birthday with parades, parties, and of course, delicious food. It wasn't all fun and games, though Elizabeth knew that being queen meant making sacrifices. She gave up driving after a serious car accident. Over the next decades, Elizabeth would welcome children into the royal family. It wasn't always easy being a royal. There were scandals, divorces, and deaths in the family. But through it all, Elizabeth remained a constant. Long live the Queen. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next time for more stories of the world's most iconic royals.